My husband's mom moved into our house temporarily after her divorce, started sleeping in our bed when I worked night shifts, told my kids to call her mommy, then acted shocked when I changed the locks and donated all her stuff to Goodwill. My mother-in-law got caught fucking my husband in our bed and now she's threatening to sue me for illegally evicting her. I'm a nurse. I work 3 12-hour night shifts a week at the hospital. My husband works from home doing some tech job I barely understand. We have 2 kids, 4 and 6. His mom got divorced 6 months ago after his dad cheated on her with a woman from his office. She was devastated, crying to us every single day about how betrayed she felt. My husband insisted we let her stay with us just for a few weeks until she found an apartment. I said fine because I actually felt bad for her. That was in April. It's now October. The first red flag was when I came home from a night shift and found her asleep in my bed. Not the guest room. My bed. Where my husband also was. He said she had a nightmare and came in crying and he didn't want to wake me by texting. I was too tired to fight about it so I just went to sleep in the guest room. Then it kept happening. Every time I worked nights, I'd come home and she'd be in my spot. My husband would say things like mom just feels safer sleeping near someone or she's going through a hard time. I started finding her clothes mixed in with our laundry. Her shampoo in our shower. Her reading glasses on my nightstand. But the thing that made me lose it was my daughter. I came home early one morning because we had a staffing issue, and I walked in to find my mother-in-law making breakfast. My 6-year-old daughter looked up and said mommy's making pancakes. I said honey, I'm mommy. My daughter looked confused. My mother-in-law laughed and said oh she's just playing a game. Kids like pretend. I said what game? She got this tight smile and said you're gone so much for work. The kids need stability. It's confusing for them when you're not here. I told her to get the fuck out of my kitchen. She acted shocked, all clutching her chest like I'd hit her. My husband came downstairs and immediately took her side, said I was being cruel to someone who was helping us. Helping us? She wasn't paying rent. Wasn't buying groceries. Wasn't even watching the kids, we still had them in daycare. I asked him point blank if anything was going on between them. He looked disgusted and said I was sick for even thinking that. His mom started crying about how I was just like his dad, accusing innocent people of affairs. I let it go. I felt crazy. 2 weeks later I swapped shifts with another nurse so I could leave work at midnight instead of 7 a.m. I wanted to surprise my husband, maybe we could actually talk without his mom hovering. I got home around 12:30 a.m. The house was quiet. I went upstairs. They were in my bed. Naked. Actually fucking. My mother-in-law saw me first. She screamed. My husband jumped up and started saying this isn't what it looks like, which is the dumbest thing you can say when someone catches you literally mid-thrust. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just stood there and said you have until morning to get out. Both of you. My husband started this whole speech about how his mom had been so sad after the divorce and they'd just been comforting each other and it just happened a few times. His mom was crying saying I didn't understand how hard it was to lose your husband of 30 years. I said you're fucking your son. Your son is fucking his mother. There is no universe where I'm the problem here. I took my kids and went to my sister's house. I called the locksmith at 6 a.m. and had every lock changed. Then I called 3 of my biggest guy friends from high school and had them go to my house and move every single item belonging to my husband and his mom onto the front lawn. Clothes, toiletries, her precious collection of ceramic angels, everything. By noon it was all gone. Either they took it or someone else did, I don't care. My husband has been blowing up my phone saying I'm a vindictive bitch and his mom is traumatized. His mom actually sent me a message from a lawyer saying I illegally evicted her and she's going to sue for emotional distress and property damage because apparently someone stole her stuff off the lawn. My own parents think I should have handled it more quietly for the kids' sake. My dad said these things happen, you didn't need to humiliate them publicly. But I keep thinking about my daughter calling her mommy. About how many nights they were doing this while my kids slept down the hall. About how she cried to me about affair partners being homewreckers when she was actively fucking her own son. The divorce is going to be brutal. My lawyer says I have a strong case obviously, but my husband's already trying to spin this like I was never home and his mom was just helping with the kids and I'm making up the affair because I'm a bitter nurse who works too much. Some of my friends are saying I overreacted with the lawn thing. That I should have been an adult and packed their stuff properly. Was I wrong? The lawyer bills are piling up, but at least I have full custody. My husband tried to get emergency placement of the kids 3 days after I changed the locks. He showed up at my sister's house with 2 cops and his mom, claiming I kidnapped our children. The cops took one look at the situation, asked a few questions, and told him to leave. One of them actually pulled me aside and said, "Ma'am, if even half of what he's telling us is true, you need to document everything." So that's what I've been doing. I started going through our phone records, bank statements, everything. Found out they'd been using our credit card to book hotel rooms for the past 4 months. Not even trying to hide it, just charging it to our account like it was normal. The Marriott downtown, twice a week, always on my night shift schedule. I have receipts showing my mother-in-law checked in at 11 p.m. and checked out at 6 a.m. My lawyer actually laughed when I showed her. She said this was the most open and shut case she'd seen in years. But here's the part that made me physically sick. I went through my husband's laptop, the one he leaves open on the kitchen counter. He never logs out of anything. I found messages between him and his mom going back 7 months. Way before his dad's affair, before the divorce, before any of this started. They'd been planning it. His mom wanted to leave his dad anyway, was tired of being married. My husband suggested she could accidentally catch his dad cheating so she'd look like the victim. They hired some woman off Craigslist to flirt with his dad at his gym. Set up the whole thing. The messages got worse. My husband told his mom he'd been in love with her since high school and that marrying me was just playing the part of normal. His mom said she'd always known they were meant to be together but society wouldn't understand. They talked about how once she moved in, they could start their real life. I threw up in my sister's bathroom for 20 minutes. My kids have been asking why daddy isn't here. My daughter keeps asking if she did something wrong, if that's why daddy left. I don't know what to tell her. How do you explain that her grandmother was trying to replace you? That her father chose his own mother over his family? My son is too young to really get it, but he cries at night for his dad. It's breaking me in half. My husband's been posting on Facebook about how I'm keeping his kids from him, how I'm a bitter nurse who's never home, how his mom was just helping out and I twisted everything because I'm jealous and paranoid. His friends are commenting with prayer hands and stay strong, brother. I want to post the hotel receipts, the messages, everything. My lawyer said don't, that we're saving it for court. His mom sent me another legal threat yesterday. She wants $15,000 for her property that was stolen from my lawn. She itemized everything. The ceramic angels were apparently worth $3,000 alone. Her lawyer claims I had no right to remove her belongings without proper eviction notice since she'd established residency. My lawyer filed a countersuit for fraud, theft by deception, and alienation of affection. Apparently you can sue for that in our state. We're going after everything. The divorce hearing is in 3 weeks. My lawyer subpoenaed the hotel records, the phone records, everything. She's also calling my kids' daycare teachers as witnesses because my mother-in-law apparently told them she was co-parenting and that I was unstable. My parents still think I should have handled this privately. My mom called yesterday and said this is going to follow those kids forever. Everyone will know their father and grandmother were, you know. She couldn't even say it. I told her everyone should know. They should know exactly what kind of people they are. My dad said I'm being vindictive, that I'm hurting the kids by dragging this out. He thinks I should take a settlement and move on quietly. But I can't stop thinking about my daughter calling her mommy. About how they planned this for months, set up his dad to look like the cheater when they were the ones fucking each other the whole time. About how many nights they were together in my bed, in my house, while I was at work saving people's lives. I got tested for everything. STDs, HIV, all of it. I'm clean, but I had to wait 2 weeks for results and I barely slept. My husband had been sleeping with me and his mom. I could have caught something and not even known where it came from. My friends from the hospital have been amazing. They've been helping with the kids, bringing food, sitting with me when I can't stop crying. One of them, another nurse who went through a bad divorce, told me it gets easier. That one day I'll wake up and it won't hurt as much. I don't believe her yet. My husband keeps texting that he wants to see the kids. My lawyer said all contact has to go through her now. He's claiming I'm violating his parental rights. The temporary custody hearing is next week and I'm terrified the judge will make me do shared custody. The thought of my kids being alone with him and his mom makes me want to throw up again. Am I doing the right thing fighting this publicly? Should I just take whatever settlement keeps this quiet? My husband's dad called me yesterday and I almost didn't answer. He said he needed to talk to me in person. I told him I had nothing to say to anyone in that family. He said please. I need to show you something. It's about my ex-wife and my son. We met at a coffee shop near my sister's place. He looked like he'd aged 10 years. He brought a manila folder stuffed with papers and photos. Turns out his affair wasn't real. He never cheated. The woman at his gym was paid by my mother-in-law to flirt with him and take compromising photos. She got $2,000 cash and my mother-in-law filed for divorce 2 days later, claiming she had proof of infidelity. His dad said he tried to fight it but his lawyer told him it would be cheaper to just settle than to drag it out. He showed me bank statements. My mother-in-law withdrew $2,000 cash 3 days before the affair photos appeared. He had text messages from the woman admitting what she did, saying she felt guilty and wanted him to know the truth. She gave him everything. Screenshots of conversations with my mother-in-law, Venmo requests, all of it. I asked him why he was showing me this. He said because my son helped her do it. And I think you deserve to know what kind of people you're dealing with. He also told me something that made my skin crawl. When my husband was 16, his mom went through a rough patch with his dad and started sleeping in my husband's room. Said she was scared to be alone. His dad thought it was weird but his mom convinced him it was innocent, just a mother comforting her teenage son. It went on for 6 months. His dad said he didn't think anything of it at the time, but now he can't stop wondering when this actually started. I took photos of everything. Sent them to my lawyer immediately. The temporary custody hearing was this morning. My husband showed up with his mom. They sat together in the back of the courtroom holding hands like a couple. It was so fucking disturbing that even the bailiff stared. My lawyer presented the hotel receipts, the phone records, the messages I found on his laptop. Then she brought up the bank statements from his dad showing the fake affair setup. She argued that my mother-in-law is manipulative and potentially dangerous, that allowing her near my children would be harmful. My husband's lawyer tried to claim I fabricated everything out of spite. Said the hotel stays were innocent, that his client was just keeping his mom company because she was depressed. The judge asked him to explain the messages about being in love since high school. He couldn't. The judge granted me full temporary custody. My husband gets supervised visitation only, 4 hours every other weekend, and his mother is not allowed to be present. He has to pay for the supervisor out of his own pocket. My husband lost it. Started yelling that I was poisoning everyone against him, that his mom did nothing wrong, that I was a psycho bitch who was never home anyway. His mom started crying, loud theatrical sobs. The judge threatened them both with contempt and had the bailiff remove them from the courtroom. I sat there shaking. My lawyer squeezed my hand and said, "You did it." But I don't feel like I won anything. I just feel hollow. My husband sent me 47 text messages after the hearing. I didn't read most of them, but the ones I saw were vile. He called me every name you can think of. Said I ruined his life, that I'm keeping his kids hostage, that I'll regret this. His mom sent me messages too, saying I'm a vindictive whore who's jealous that she and her son have real love and I was just a placeholder. I forwarded everything to my lawyer. She's filing for a protection order. My daughter asked me again last night why Daddy isn't here. I told her Daddy made some bad choices and he needs time to think about them. She said, "Did Grandma make bad choices too?" I said yes. She was quiet for a minute and then she said I don't want to call her mommy anymore. I started crying right there. Just completely broke down. My daughter hugged me and said, "It's okay, Mommy. You're my real mommy." My son is still too young to understand, but he's been having nightmares. He wakes up crying and I have to rock him back to sleep. Sometimes it takes hours. I went back to work this week. My first shift back, 3 of my coworkers asked if I was doing okay. Word had gotten around about the divorce. One of them, an older nurse who's been there for 20 years, told me her ex-husband cheated on her with her sister. She said the betrayal is worse than the cheating. But you'll survive this. You're stronger than you think. I don't feel strong. I feel like I'm barely holding it together. My parents still think I should settle quietly. My mom called yesterday and said the custody hearing was unnecessary drama and that I'm making everything worse by fighting. I hung up on her. My sister has been my rock through this. She's the one watching my kids when I work nights now. She's the one who sat with me at 3 a.m. when I couldn't stop crying. She told me yesterday that she's proud of me for not backing down. The full divorce hearing is in 6 weeks. My lawyer thinks we can get the house, full custody, and a significant portion of his retirement accounts. She also thinks the fraud case against my mother-in-law is solid, especially with his dad's evidence. But I keep thinking about what his dad said. About his mom sleeping in my husband's room when he was 16. About how long this might have really been going on. I don't know if I'll ever have answers. And I don't know if I want them. My husband's first supervised visit is this Saturday. I'm terrified of how my kids will react to seeing him. My daughter has been asking about him less and less. My son still cries for Daddy sometimes, but not as much as before. Part of me wonders if I should just let this go. Take whatever settlement keeps my kids away from both of them and move on. But then I remember my daughter saying, "You're my real mommy," and I know I'm doing the right thing. Am I wrong for pushing forward with all of this? Should I just settle and move on? My husband showed up drunk to his first supervised visit and the supervisor called the cops. I wasn't there when it happened. The visitation center is supposed to be neutral ground, so I dropped the kids off and leave for the 4 hours. I was grocery shopping when I got the call from the supervisor saying the visit was terminated early and I needed to pick up my kids immediately. When I got there, my daughter was sitting in the supervisor's office coloring like nothing happened. My son was asleep in a playpen. The supervisor, this older woman who's seen everything, looked shaken. She told me my husband arrived 30 minutes late, clearly intoxicated, and when she tried to breathalyze him per protocol, he shoved her. The cops arrested him for assault. He's out on bail now, but the visitation center banned him permanently. My lawyer is filing an emergency motion to suspend all visitation rights. My daughter didn't see most of it, thank God. She said Daddy came in and gave her a hug, but he smelled funny, and then the supervisor took her to a different room to play. She has no idea he got arrested. But here's what's making me spiral. My husband's mom posted bail for him. $5,000 cash. My lawyer found out she liquidated part of her retirement account to do it. She also posted on Facebook that I'm using the legal system to abuse and alienate a loving father and that she's fighting for her son and grandchildren against a vindictive woman. The post got 200 likes. Her church friends are commenting with prayers and support. Someone started a GoFundMe to help with their legal fees. It's raised $3,000 so far. I reported the post to my lawyer. She said it could be considered harassment, but it's not technically illegal. She advised me to document everything but not engage. Not engaging is killing me. I want to comment with the hotel receipts, the messages, everything. I want everyone to know what they really are. My husband's dad called me again. He's filing his own lawsuit against his ex-wife for fraud and intentional infliction of emotional distress. He asked if I'd be willing to testify, and I said yes without even thinking about it. He sounded relieved. He said I need people to know I'm not the bad guy here. She destroyed my reputation. He also told me something that made my stomach turn. His sister, my husband's aunt, reached out to him after seeing the Facebook post. She said when my husband was in high school, the family had concerns about how close he and his mom were. They'd take weekend trips together, just the two of them. She'd buy him expensive gifts his dad didn't know about. His aunt said she tried to bring it up once and my mother-in-law cut her off completely, didn't speak to her for 2 years. His aunt wants to testify too. I told my therapist all of this in our session yesterday. Yes, I'm seeing a therapist now. My sister insisted after I had a panic attack at work last week. My therapist asked me how I'm processing everything and I told her I'm not, I'm just trying to survive day to day. She said that's normal for trauma. That's what she called it. Trauma. I never thought of it like that, but she's right. I can't sleep without having nightmares about finding them in my bed. I can't go into my bedroom, home, without feeling sick. I'm paying for a house I can't even live in because I'm still staying at my sister's. My lawyer suggested I move back in, that staying away could hurt my case because technically it's marital property and abandoning it gives him grounds to claim I left voluntarily. But I can't. I physically cannot walk into that house. Work has been the only thing keeping me sane. When I'm with patients, I can focus on their problems instead of mine. But last night during my shift, one of my patients asked if I was okay. I guess I looked as awful as I felt. I lied and said I was fine, just tired. She said, "Honey, I've been a nurse for 40 years. That's not tired. That's heartbreak." I cried in the supply closet for 10 minutes after that. The full divorce hearing is in 3 weeks. My lawyer keeps saying we have a strong case, but I'm terrified something will go wrong. That the judge will think I'm exaggerating. That my husband will find some way to twist everything. He's already trying. His lawyer filed a motion claiming I have parental alienation syndrome and that I'm coaching the kids to hate him. As evidence, they cited the fact that my daughter doesn't ask about him anymore. My lawyer called it a desperate move, but it still scared me. What if it works? What if they actually believe him? My mother-in-law sent another message through her lawyer. She's demanding grandparent visitation rights. In our state, grandparents can petition for court-ordered visits if they can prove it's in the child's best interest. Her lawyer is arguing that she had an established relationship with my kids and cutting her off is harmful. My lawyer laughed when she got the petition. She said let her try. She won't win. But I'm not laughing. The thought of that woman anywhere near my children makes me want to throw up. My daughter told me something yesterday that I can't stop thinking about. We were driving home from daycare and out of nowhere she said, "I'm glad Grandma doesn't live with us anymore." I asked her why. She said she was always in your spot. I didn't like it. I almost had to pull over. My 4-year-old knew something was wrong. She noticed and it bothered her, and she never said anything because she's 4 and didn't know how to process what she was seeing. What else did she see? What else did they do in front of my kids that I don't know about? My son is too young to remember much of this, thank God. But my daughter will. She's going to grow up knowing her father chose his own mother over us. That's going to be part of her story forever. I hate them for that more than anything else. My sister asked me last night if I'm going to be okay. Honest answer? I don't know. Some days I feel like I'm getting stronger, like I can handle this. Other days I can barely get out of bed. The worst part is everyone keeps asking when I'll be ready to date again. Like that's even on my radar. Like I could ever trust anyone again after this. My mom called yesterday. First time we've talked since I hung up on her. She apologized for not supporting me but then said, "You have to understand, this is hard for all of us." He's still my son-in-law. I told her he stopped being her son-in-law when he fucked his own mother in my bed. She hung up on me this time. The hearing is in 3 weeks. My lawyer thinks we'll get everything. Full custody, the house, his retirement. She thinks the judge will see right through him. But I keep wondering what happens after. When the divorce is final and the dust settles. Do I just go back to normal? Pretend none of this happened? I don't think I'll ever be normal again. I acknowledge all the rules clearly. Natural Redditor voice, real and casual like closing out a messy saga. No greetings or intro lines like this is the final update. Do not recap earlier updates, assume readers know full story. This update resolves the story completely. Clear emotional/narrative conclusion with consequences and closure. Tie up loose ends, show what happened to all major characters. Let readers feel the impact and weight of everything. Okay to slow pacing for reflection and aftermath, keep grounded. No new major plot twists, focus on resolution and emotional fallout. No headings, bold text, or paragraph labels. Every sentence adds emotion, reflection, or closure. Clean, direct language, avoid excessive adjectives/adverbs. No em dashes, use commas or rewrite. Mix short and long sentences for natural rhythm. End must feel final, satisfying, powerful, or haunting. Exactly 9,000 characters, not words. Avoid generic scenarios, cliché intros, repetitive openings. No plot twists. No common names. Timeline consistency. Natural dialogue that sounds real. No plot holes. Organic storytelling, not mechanical event listing. Clear moral lines, no redemption for cheaters. Realistic consequences and justice. Biological accuracy. Authentic details. Story logic consistency. Straight ASCII quotes only. Focus on writing quality, clear prose, natural flow, smooth transitions. Varied sentence lengths. Show emotions through actions and dialogue. Better dialogue, natural character voice. Clearer cause and effect relationships. Less mechanical, more organic storytelling. Beginning final update now. The divorce was finalized 3 days ago and I own the house outright. My husband didn't even show up to the final hearing. His lawyer appeared via Zoom and said his client was too emotionally distressed to attend. The judge didn't care. She went through everything my lawyer presented, the hotel receipts, the messages, the fake affair his mom orchestrated against his dad, all of it. She called their relationship deeply disturbing and said she had serious concerns about my husband's judgment and mental stability. I got full legal and physical custody. He gets 0 visitation rights until he completes a full psychological evaluation and remains sober for 6 consecutive months with proof through random drug testing. He also has to pay child support, spousal support for 3 years, and half his retirement account goes to me. The house is mine. Everything in it is mine. His lawyer tried to argue that the settlement was too harsh. The judge shut him down in under 30 seconds. She said any parent who shows up drunk to supervised visitation and assaults the supervisor deserves exactly what they get. My mother-in-law's petition for grandparent visitation was denied the same day. The judge said allowing her contact with my children would be detrimental to their well-being given the nature of her relationship with my husband. She's also being sued by my husband's dad for fraud. That case is still ongoing, but his lawyer says it's looking good. My husband sent me one text after the hearing. It said, "I hope you're happy. You destroyed everything." I blocked his number. I moved back into the house last week. It took me 3 days to work up the courage to even unlock the front door. My sister came with me and we went through every room together. I had the mattress from my bedroom hauled away and bought a completely new bed. New sheets, new pillows, everything. I repainted the walls. I ripped up the carpet and had hardwood installed. It doesn't feel like the same house anymore. That's the point. My daughter started kindergarten 2 weeks ago. She's doing really well, made friends already, loves her teacher. She hasn't asked about her dad in over a month. My son is thriving in preschool. He's talking more, playing more, sleeping through the night finally. My therapist says kids are resilient. That they'll adjust and heal faster than I think. I hope she's right. I saw my husband's mom at the grocery store last Sunday. I was in the produce section and looked up and there she was, staring at me from across the aisle. She looked older. Tired. She opened her mouth like she was going to say something, but I just turned around and walked away. I left my card and everything, just walked straight out to my car. I sat in the parking lot shaking for 20 minutes. My therapist says I'm experiencing PTSD. That seeing her triggered a fear response, and that's normal given everything I've been through. She wants me to consider medication, but I'm not ready for that yet. I'm barely holding it together as it is. Work has been my saving grace. I picked up extra shifts, volunteered for the harder cases, anything to keep my mind occupied. My coworkers have been incredible. They know bits and pieces of what happened and they've never once made me feel like gossip or a spectacle. One of the older nurses told me last week that I'm stronger than I know. I'm trying to believe her. My husband's dad came by the house a few days ago. He brought toys for the kids and apologized for everything. He said he had no idea what was really happening, that if he'd known sooner he would have done something. I told him it wasn't his fault. We sat on my porch and he told me about his lawsuit against his ex-wife. He said his lawyer thinks they can prove fraud and intentional infliction of emotional distress. He wants her to pay back everything she got in the divorce settlement plus damages. I told him I hope he wins. He asked if he could still see the kids sometimes. He said he knows he's technically their grandfather, but he understands if I don't want him around. I thought about it for a long time. My kids loved him before all this happened. He was always kind to them, always present. And none of this was his fault. I said yes. He cried. He takes them to the park every other Saturday now. My daughter calls him Papa and my son lights up when he sees him. It's one good thing that came out of this nightmare. My parents and I are still not speaking. My mom sent a card for my daughter's birthday, but I threw it away. Maybe one day I'll be ready to forgive them for not supporting me, but that day isn't today. My sister is my family now. Her and my kids and my husband's dad. That's enough. I went on a date 2 weeks ago. A guy I met at the hospital, a physical therapist who works on the same floor. He asked me to coffee and I said yes before I could talk myself out of it. It was nice. Easy. He made me laugh. We're going out again this weekend. I'm not ready for anything serious, but it felt good to remember that not everyone is like my ex-husband. That there are still decent people in the world. My ex-husband's mom posted on Facebook again last month. Another long rant about how I'm a horrible person who destroyed her family, how she's being persecuted for loving her son, how the courts are biased against mothers. I didn't read the whole thing. A friend sent me screenshots. The comments were mixed. Some people supporting her, some people calling her out. Someone posted a link to an article about emotional incest and tagged her in it. The post is still up. I don't care anymore. She can say whatever she wants. The truth is in the court documents, and anyone who matters knows what really happened. I got a message from the woman my mother-in-law paid to seduce my husband's dad. She said she'd been following my story through mutual friends and wanted to apologize. She said she didn't know the full situation when she took the money, that she thought it was just a suspicious wife trying to catch her husband. She said if she'd known the truth she never would have done it. I didn't respond. I don't know what I'd even say. My daughter drew a picture at school last week. It was of our family. Her, me, her brother, and Papa. 4 people. She didn't include her dad or her grandmother. Her teacher asked her about it and my daughter said that's my family now. I cried when I saw it, but they were good tears for once. I'm sleeping better. The nightmares are less frequent. I can walk into my bedroom without feeling sick. I can make it through a whole day without thinking about them. My therapist says that's progress. That healing isn't linear, but I'm moving in the right direction. Some days I still feel angry. Angry at my husband for choosing his mother over us. Angry at his mother for being the kind of person who would destroy multiple families for her own twisted wants. Angry at myself for not seeing it sooner. But mostly I just feel tired. Tired of being angry, tired of hurting, tired of letting them take up space in my head. I'm trying to focus on the future now. On my kids and their happiness. On rebuilding a life that feels safe and stable and normal. On remembering who I was before all this happened and figuring out who I want to be now. I'll never understand what happened. I'll never understand how a mother could do that to her son, or how my husband could choose that over his own children. I'll never understand how they justified it to themselves or how they thought it would end any other way. But I don't need to understand it. I just need to move forward. The house feels like mine now. My kids are happy and healthy. I have full custody and my ex-husband is out of our lives. His mother has no legal rights to my children. I have a job I love and coworkers who support me. I'm going on dates and remembering what it feels like to be treated with respect. I won. Not in the way I ever wanted to win anything, not by losing my marriage and blowing up my kids' family. But I won in the ways that matter. My kids are safe. I'm safe. We're building something new. My husband and his mother are facing the consequences of their choices. He lost his wife, his kids, his house, his reputation. She lost her son-in-law's support, her grandchildren, her social standing, and she's being sued for fraud. They chose each other and they got exactly what they deserved. Sometimes at night when the kids are asleep and the house is quiet, I think about that moment I walked in and saw them together. How my whole world shattered in an instant. How I didn't know if I'd survive the pain of that betrayal. But I did survive. I'm still here. Still standing. Still fighting for my kids and for myself. And that's enough.